Swamps are coming to Elden Ring Nightreign. We recently went to Bandai Namco to get an exclusive hands-on with the brand new Nightreign DLC, The Forsaken Hollows. We spent 5-6 hours
all day, pretty much.
A long time.
We did a long play session. We got to experience a bunch of the new content, including, crucially, the 2 new Nightfarers. We're going to break it all down, talk about our impressions of it. We have the Scholar and the Undertaker. Let's start with the Scholar. Tam, immediate impressions.
Absolute nerd of a character. If you wanted to figure out what hole the Scholar was created to plug, it was item use. Item use in a standard run-through, advanced run-through of Nightreign is minimal, right? You don't really think about that stuff. But the Scholar is actually built around taking items, especially in day 1 early phase, and repeatedly using them as quickly as possible to rank them up and increase the power or add additional attributes to them. So that's kind of like the foundation of that character. But beyond that, they have more support abilities as well, like buffing and debuffing in interesting ways. So it is definitely a range character. You don't want to get into the thick of it because then you will be in trouble. But also, they kind of want you to get into the thick of it because the Scholar's ability to analyze and target enemies becomes quicker if you're closer to them.
Yeah, so it's a character skill. So it's recharges fairly quickly. And the idea is the longer you analyze an enemy, the more debuffs you can apply or more buffs you can apply on yourself and your team in the area. The debuffs are decreased attack, and then if you get to level 3, the next hit does even more damage to those enemies. And on the flip side, if you buff yourself, you increase your stamina for the first one, and in the final level, you get a little shield that when hit, there's a shockwave that happens.
Yeah.
For me, when I was playing, it felt like I had to rewire my Nightreign brain to use items, and I felt like certainly on day 1, you can both tell me, I was not as impactful or effective as a teammate because I was too busy trying to get all of my item use to level 2, 3, so that later I would be more useful.
Yeah.
But the analyze stuff, and especially his ultimate art, which connects all of the enemies together and all of the allies together. So if you are, popping a flask, everyone gets a little bit of health back.
Within range. You got to be within his ultimate range.
Yes, and all enemies that are communed together take damage.
Yeah.
Linking them with other Nightfarers, obviously if you are about to deal a ton of damage, linking up with Undertaker, Duchess, you can do a lot. But ultimately I think, especially compared to Undertaker, and it's difficult not to put them both in the same thing because they are both coming with the DLC, is that he feels slow. But certainly when there are multiple enemies, he's very, very useful.
I think that's kind of my thing with him. I don't think I'd rely on him for every boss, every Night Lord I fight, but for the new one in particular, or Gladius, where there are opportunities, situations where you're fighting multiple bosses at once in one boss arena, I feel like having him could be super helpful.
I think of it, or I describe it as Overwatch-style soldiers ult, where it fills around, and you don't have to wait for it to be fully filled. You can use it after a certain chunk, which means if you're getting overwhelmed by dogs or insects or whatever, you can quickly pop that and just clear things up. But it's most effective in those boss encounters.
I'd say my least favorite thing about him, and this is mostly personal preference, is his proficient weapon are thrusting weapons, and I do not like thrusting weapons. They are my least favorite because I feel like I'm just poke.
In a complete opposite, I suppose, let's talk about the other Nightfarer, which is the Undertaker. My personal favorite of the 2. If you think the Scholar is kind of a slower approach, then the Undertaker is very, very quick, very, very powerful. I think we all had a lot of fun with her.
I think she will probably be one of my top 3.
I think
one of my regular go-tos. Doesn't matter the boss, doesn't matter who I'm with. I want to play her as much as I can.
Yeah. The amount of damage she can do. I mean, Jake, do you want to give us a brief overview?
Yeah, so I think the coolest thing to talk about is her ultimate ability, which essentially when you activate, she slingshots herself towards the enemy you're locked onto. The thing is that you can activate it whenever anyone else pops an ultimate within range.
Yes.
So you can get into situations where, I mean, we had a Duchess who'd pop their ult, and then we'd have 2 Undertakers who would both pop their ults following immediately, and then maybe one would have another ult who'd pop her normal ult, and then that would trigger the other Undertaker. So we'd have situations where
And then
we'd
the
just
Duchess
be...
would pop restage to
yeah.
like
To-
stack
do a
even
ton
more
of
damage.
So
So
there
the-
were situations where we were just like ult, and you just watch boss bar.
So just to be clear, when another character pops their ult, you get a free ult.
You get a free
So
ult.
it doesn't use your bar.
Yes.
Your ult bar. So you can use the free ult and then pop your actual ult that you've built up. And if you have another Undertaker, you can have them team up as well. So free ult, core ult.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
it gets out of hand at times.
And she pulls out like a spiny bone from
Yeah.
her body that she hits people with. It's so cool.
Her kind of other ability, Trance, means that she increased toughness, speed, combo attack power, and then if you have an alt gauge, you can pop that and you can dodge potentially lethal attack, just like Wilder can, and you get more attack power. So she is a very aggressive, very quick character. We had a lot of fun teaming her up with a bunch of different Nightfarers and seeing just how much damage.
She's surprisingly good at breaking through guard and like creating critical hit chances and that kind of stuff, because if you like, I had a very heavy axe on her.
Yes.
And I was just spamming the attacks, and obviously that takes a chunk of her stamina out. So I was just waiting until the stamina was gone, popping her trance, because it just instantly refills it and then carries on going. So you can really pressure enemies and break through their guard to leave to like a visceral attack.
Yes.
And she specializes in hammers. Once again, the only character to specialize in hammers. And at one point, I got I think it's like the Hammer of America. I don't think we have footage because it was in one of the sections we weren't able to use it. But having that with her, I felt unstoppable until we fought the new boss. And then
it's also really funny seeing this like thin,
tiny
tiny
girl,
woman.
giant hammer.
tiny nun woman who looks like a nun and is like giant hammer. Bang.
It's
really
like when
cool.
people give Revenant the giant sword.
Yeah.
It's similar energy. But
I mean,
she's so cool. She's,
very, very
like I
cool.
said, top 3 for sure.
So we did do the new boss balances, and when we were there, we were kind of talking about the parts of the game we were going to play. I believe the phrase from the Bandai Namco representative was, super hard, good luck.
Good luck. Yeah.
And yeah,
Not kidding.
not kidding at all. So you can see it briefly in the trailer, these angelic beings, I believe there's 7 of them.
Yes, 7.
This is where Scholar really became useful, because you can analyze and debuff so many of them at the same time. However,
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough because
We
they
weren't
are
able to
all-
buff enough.
Yeah, because
Or debuff
all
enough.
7 are attacking at once, and you have to be very careful then, because if you are
if you
as
scatter
players,
too much,
if you scatter too much, you could put yourself in a position where you're not able to help others. But if you're too close together, you could just get surrounded and spammed.
they had big area of effect attacks, like they
Yeah.
would do the big sweeping across the map, and so you might be focusing on one and another one comes in from behind and just knocks the wind
Yeah.
right out of you.
It's a tough boss. I will say we didn't have access to these characters' specific relic abilities, but we were able to see what they were. I don't remember what they were off the top of my head, but it definitely seems like you're going to want to get those relics before you take on this boss. They are kind of squishy on their own in terms of like you can take one down fairly easily, but the thing is once you've defeated all 7, you've only we took out like a quarter of the health bar, if that,
Yeah.
and they all get back up, and one becomes like the leader. And
That's
it's just kind
it's
of leading
again
the charge.
Melania. She becomes like the big. She starts doing like long range slice attacks that throw energy
Cover the
at
entire
you,
map.
covering the entire map. Yeah.
I mentioned up top, swamps are back.
Not only
There's so
Well,
many
those ones-
swamps.
Yeah, there's a swamp of every flavor.
Yeah, so we found a sleep
Frenzy swamp,
frenzy,
poison swamp,
Scarlet Rot
Scarlet
Scarlet
Rot
Rot.
swamp.
Yeah. Yeah, so these are integrated within the original map, and they'll have different effects, but like you're saying, you kind of go deeper and deeper and deeper. There's a boss at the end. I would say you wouldn't want to do one of these at the very beginning, maybe like end of day 1, I think is probably when they start to feel doable. You could probably get away at like level 3 or 4, but
Yeah, and also
we
they
started
do,
it in 1 and we just got wrecked.
Yeah, they do impact how you're pacing out your run, because like all swamps. Once you're in there, you slow down. It's hard to like
Yeah.
roll through them, jump through them. They are like areas that you can like jump onto to give yourself some normal movement capabilities. But most people are gonna slowly trudge their way through it. And there's obviously some Nightfarers who have traversal abilities that will be able to quickly get through it.
Yeah,
Like I and
Wilder.
I can just
Zipping.
like zip
Yeah.
through it. Yeah.
In terms of other new elements, we've got forges. So and sort of new like the town village.
Yeah,
setup
there's
from-
like a town surrounding the forge, kind of,
Yeah.
and there's a boss in the town, and I think you need to find things to
There's
light
like a
the forge.
nearby.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
So when you light the forge, it allows you to re-roll and change the skill on your weapon. So I think we didn't really touch this too
We did it-
much.
I
We
did
it
yeah,
one
I did
time,
it
yeah.
once. I think for us as well, we were still being attacked by things, and so it was a
Yeah.
bit chaotic when we were doing it. But it's really cool that you have that re-roll ability opportunity within a game. Let's talk about the new map. So again, unfortunately, we cannot show this. We played it a few times.
I do want to back up a little, though. This is like not a new map that you pick. This is a shifting earth.
Yes.
I think
Shifting Earth.
what's impressive, though, is the other shifting earths take place in that original map. This is an
one.
entirely new map.
Yes.
And I think they kind of undersold that,
Yeah,
you know,
very much
until we
so.
actually played it. You fly into a completely different map.
The takeaway from it is more substantial than the existing shifting earths, and probably more substantial than you think it's going to be because they're calling it a shifting earth.
Yes.
Verticality, I think, is the big thing that leapt out at me. It
Yeah.
seemed like as we were playing, there were just no real stretches of land. Everything
No.
we were constantly
Jumping.
jumping down places, going over bridges, spirits springing up. Like obviously, there's a lot of verticality, I would say, in Limbo in general, but it felt like in this crystalline
Yeah.
region, there was so much more of it, and it meant for us as we were playing, obviously Nightreign cooperative game, you have to be talking and communicating. Felt like we did not stray far from each other at all when we were doing
No.
it, because it's so easy to get lost and get separated. There were certain times where I fell and just like died completely,
Yeah.
couldn't find you guys.
When you've got the night coming towards you, that verticality quickly becomes deadly, because if you're not careful and you like get turned around or disorientated, you can end up dying very quickly.
Falling off a cliff.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely did do
Who
that.
did that? Not me.
Not me. But no, I mean, it's also stunning.
Yeah, it's really, really nice. It's got this like,
Ethereal music.
yeah, it's got
Yeah,
really good
music's
Choral,
music. It's all
ethereal
crystal
music.
based. There's like a mechanic within the area itself that involves finding these specific crystals at different points, destroying them, and kind of unlocking a crystal in the middle, which where you go to will give you something.
Yeah, just like other shifting earths. There's like
Yeah.
a loose objective, you get
Exactly.
that, and in theory, it could help you with a boss. Or in our situation, there was an area of the map that you got Crystal Curse if you were there,
Yes.
which just cuts your health in half. So if you do that first, you get that ability, and then you clear that area. You won't have to deal with Crystal Curse.
I think it's going to breathe some life into that community again, which is doing pretty well, and they enjoy the experience, but more substantial than you probably think it is. It is a paid upgrade.
Unless you have the collector's
Unless you have the
edition.
collector's.
It is $15, which is, I think, a very good deal
Yeah,
for what
yeah.
you're getting. I, as someone who played so much of it, I will definitely get hours and hours and hours out of this.
Yeah.
Like experimenting with these new characters, messing around with relics. I mentioned that, like, I think for me, as of now at least, Scholar is the weaker of the two in my opinion, but I could definitely see the depth there.
Yeah.
And I think once I understand that depth better, and once I have relics to support the kind of way I want to play, I could see myself playing a lot of that.
I'll pay a $15 Artorias tax just to see him again.
Yeah.
The
Happy to.
Artorias.
Yeah, and one last thing, they do have bespoke stories.
Yep.
I'm one of the weirdos who completed every single character's
Yeah.
story.
Every scenario.
I'm very excited for that.
And there are
Um,
some parts of like character history as well that feel like they connect into certain themes and narratives and ideas that the community has been trying to piece together. So there's going to, for the lore hunters out there, there's some stuff in there already that is going to be good for connective tissue.
Yes, absolutely. So we also have character breakdowns of the Scholar and Undertaker. We've got videos of those up, so go check that out. Tam also did an interview with FromSoftware to ask burning questions.
You can read that on the site.
Yes, and for more on Elden Ring, Nightreign, The Forsaken Hollows, stay tuned to GameSpot.